Aaron, I so appreciate the message that you brought here today in your Devar Torah. You identified in the Torah portion something that kind of sticks out. It's maybe even a little bit oddly placed in this Torah portion, Parshat Vayakhel. We find, as you noted so wisely, a seemingly unrelated, out of the blue reminder that Uvayom Hashvi'i Yehiel Lachem Kodesh Shabbat Shabbaton Ladonai, that on the seventh day you shall have a Shabbat of complete rest. Now it's a little strange, as you pointed out, because we're in the middle of a conversation about the work that the people need to do to build the tabernacle, which is the structure that we carry with us through the wilderness during our 40-year journey from Mitzrayim, from ancient Egypt, where we were oppressed, into the Holy Land, across the water and towards freedom. And it's a little strange, also, because we've already been told this instruction to keep Shabbat. It was given us directly in the Ten Commandments not long ago. It's number 4. So why again, and why here? And I love that you were exploring this question about what is Shabbat, whether or not this is what is Shabbat for you, or what piece of Shabbat matters to you, or you can find meaning in. And you've raised this question, I think, at the perfect time. We need this question, and we need its answers and yours. So first, let's try to understand what it means and what it's doing here in the text. The rabbinic commentators explain that our people needed a reminder to keep Shabbat at this moment in particular. Why? Because the building of the tabernacle is, as you described, just one of the most holy things that we do. It's a way for us to come close to God and come close to one another. So we might think, well, sure, keep Shabbat, rest on Shabbat, be joyful on Shabbat, but not while we're building the Mishkan. No way, for that we should work 24/7, all hands on deck until it's done. It's so important. The Torah comes to tell us that no, even with the building of something as important as the Mishkan, we are required to rest on the 7th day. It's not 24/7. It's 24/6 at best. Shabbat, taking times for our bodies and our minds to rest and be calm. Taking time to be with our community and family. Taking time for utter joy and singing and doing things that we love supersedes even this. In fact, back in Genesis, when we are first told about Shabbat, how God rests on the 7th day of creation, and so that we should too, a commentator named Or HaChaim describes Shabbat as the soul of the world. This day that we're on right now, called the soul of the world. A soul that needs to be nurtured and cared for, a soul that allows the rest of life to be possible. Think about how hard we all run every day. How hard we work, how relentlessly we push forward, how productive we think we need to be just to be worthy. It's good to work and to create. We're not just permitted to work. In this verse, we are encouraged to work for 6 days to do the work of this world. But it is the 7th day that we are told we live for. We need rest and we need joy as human beings in order to face the hard things that come our way, in order to do the work that we are called to do. Shabbat in this Torah portion comes in the midst of this great building project, kind of sticks out and inserts itself at a weird time. And this Shabbat today comes at a weird time, in the midst of a very tumultuous moment in our world. It can feel disjointed to celebrate a simcha as bright as your bar mitzvah, or to observe Shabbat as a day of rest and joy, while the world turns to war. While the Ukrainian people take shelter underground, or rush to trains with their lives in one suitcase, or their lives turned upside down. It's so scary and it's so sad to watch this unfold. Shabbat again seems out of place. How do we rest and be joyful when things are turned upside down? Aaron, in just a few moments, we're going to offer a blessing for the new month. At the end of this week begins the month, the Hebrew month of Adar Bet. And there's a saying about this month. Mi shenichnas Adar marbim basimcha. When Adar begins, when the month of Adar starts, we increase in joy. One reason for that is because the month of Adar includes the raucous and wild holiday of Purim. Purim, where we dress in costumes and we are silly and we sing ridiculous songs and we have a carnival and we eat and we drink and we dance and we are so stinking merry. Purim is full of so much joy. But Purim is complex. On Purim, we are celebrating the near miss of our own genocide. We are marking the days when cruel Haman, thank you. On Purim, when we say Haman, everybody goes, boo, because we drowned out his name, he's so cruel. So we are marking the days when cruel Haman, this is good practice, brought us to the brink of destruction with his evil plans to kill all the Jews of Shushan. We are celebrating on Purim the courage of Queen Esther, who married the king without him knowing that she was a Jew. Esther, who at great risk to herself, reveals herself to her powerful husband and says, I am a Jew. Call off this war on my people. It's a dark story, even as we survive it. And it hangs on a particular verse in Megillat Esther, which is the scroll on which is recorded this story. It says this, the verse, on the very day that the Jews were to be executed, v'nahafohu, everything was turned upside down. It is out of upside downiness that we know how to choose to celebrate, that we demand joy out of this tumultuous world, that we accept the gifts of rest and do things that make us happy, as you wrote about, Aaron. We do not turn away from our responsibilities to this world ever, to the most vulnerable, to those who suffer. But we also cannot endlessly, without pause, live only in the tumult. It is when the world is most upside down that we need Shabbat rest and joy the most. Need to be in community and spend time with our families and decide to celebrate simchas like this one. How can we rest and be joyful when things are turned upside down? All the more so, how can we not? Even in pandemic, even in uncertainty and war, we need it more than ever. And we know that rest and joy are not things that happen by accident. We have to make them happen. We have to claim them. All the other basic measurements of time occur within the natural world, in science. All the other basic measurements of time. A day is one rotation of our planet. This is Rabbi science here, but I'm pretty sure it's right. A day is one rotation of our planet. A month is one lunar revolution around the Earth. Stop me if I get this wrong. A year is one earthly revolution around the sun. But a week, the notion of 7 days, it doesn't exist anywhere in science. It was born with Torah. Because we know that if we let ourselves be swallowed up by the hard parts of our story, we won't have any capacity to make them better. We won't be able to live into being the people that we are meant to become. Our people's long story is not a simple one. And if we forget to rest, and to generate joy, and to celebrate with our community, even if that means flying in from other countries, how would we ever have the strength to make it through? The world is tumultuous today, turned upside down. It can feel overwhelming and frightening, like we don't know which way to turn. And it can feel like there is no time for rest, no time for joy. But we know what it means to live when the world is turned upside down. We know it's on us to do all that we can to right the ship, to stand up for those who are pushed down, to work with all peoples for equality and compassion and justice in this world. But we also know that it is a radical and necessary thing to choose to increase the light in this world and lift up our voices in song and in dance and in party and in laughter, to take the time out that you called us to, Aaron, so that when that new day comes, we have it in us to get to the work of healing this upside down world. Shabbat Shalom, and may this truly be a Shabbat of peace in our hearts and across the globe. Amen.